I want you to picture this. You're scrolling through your phone. Maybe it's a Tuesday afternoon, killing time. You open up Snapchat, and suddenly you are watching a video that feels like it's from a horror movie, but it's real life. It's a young mother, a girl you might even know from high school. She's in her car, clearly panicked, and she is just screaming.
And not just yelling, it's hysterical.
Right. She's screaming that her baby has been murdered. She's saying, "My baby is dead." She's warning people not to hug her. She's blaming a babysitter. It looks like the rawest, most terrifying moment of a parent's life broadcast in real time.
It's the kind of thing that triggers a biological response in anyone watching. You see a mother in that much distress, and your immediate instinct is sympathy. You want to help.
You believe her.
You absolutely believe her.
Because,
I mean, who would fake that?
Exactly. And that is where we are starting today, because this deep dive is about what happens when you look past that screen. While 20-year-old Kyleah Tolle was broadcasting this performance of grief in February 2025, the reality waiting inside her unlocked home in Yakima, Washington, was quiet. It was horrific.
Yeah.
And it was entirely of her own making.
This is a case that's going to be difficult to process. We've gone through a massive stack of source materials, investigative reports, 9/11 transcripts, body cam logs, interviews.
It works.
Everything. And our mission today isn't just to recount the timeline of a crime. We need to deconstruct a performance. We're going to look at how investigators dismantled a completely fabricated alibi, the specific psychology behind this level of neglect, and the tragedy of the warning signs that were missed.
So let's start with that friction between the online persona and the physical reality. It's February 25, 2025. Kyleah Tolle calls 911, but at the same time, she's also calling the internet.
Which is already, that's a specific psychological marker right there. In a moment of true crisis, the impulse to broadcast is notable.
She's filming herself, screaming about a sitter named KK who supposedly killed her baby.
Yeah.
But there's a detail in the transcript of this video that just feels so jarringly out of place.
You're talking about the "don't be beautiful" comment?
Yes. She says, "Don't be beautiful" for Kyleah.
It's chilling. She's speaking about herself in the third person. She is critiquing her own appearance in the video, essentially directing the scene. She's telling people not to hug her because she doesn't like hugs.
It's brand management.
It is. Even in what she's presenting as total devastation, she's managing how she's perceived. It's the first real crack in the facade that suggests this isn't grief, it's theater.
She tells a dispatcher she isn't at home because she can't live with herself. She's on the run.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, police arrive at her house. The front door is unlocked. And the contrast between the noise of her social media and the silence of that house is the first thing the officers note.
The reports describe it as a sensory assault. The moment they stepped into the bedroom, the smell of garbage and cat urine was just overwhelming.
A physical wall of neglect.
Exactly. But it's what they found in that silence that matters.
In a bassinet, they found 7-month-old Cherry. She was wearing Christmas pajamas.
And it's February, so she's in clothes from 2 months prior.
Exactly. And the condition of the body. The report says she was partially mummified. Her skin was leathery, eyes sunken. That implies something very specific about the timeline, doesn't it?
It does. It destroys her story from minute one. Mummification, in this context, it doesn't happen overnight. It means the infant had been deceased for a significant amount of time, probably days.
So that biological fact just immediately contradicts her narrative that she just came home and found her baby.
The body tells the truth, the mother won't.
But we have to talk about the second victim in that room. Because there was a survivor.
2-year-old.
Officers found her standing in a crib. The description is, it's tough to read. She was caked in mucus, matted into her hair, severe diaper rash, open sores. She was standing on soiled bedding, unable to even open her eyes fully.
So think about the cognitive dissonance required here. You have Kyleah Tolle driving around filming this Snapchat video, acting out the role of a grieving mother. Knowing full well that she left her 7-month-old decaying in a bassinet and her toddler starving in a crib filled with waste.
No.
This isn't just panic. This is a level of compartmentalization that is truly terrifying.
So Kyleah is picked up by police. She's hysterical. She's playing the victim, and she has a prepared story. She claims she left the kids with a babysitter named KK or K so she could have some teenage time.
Teenage time, that phrase she uses, it's so telling. It suggests she saw motherhood as an interruption to her real life.
Right. She wanted to press pause on being a mom.
Yeah.
She says she came home, found the baby dead, sitter gone. The police, they have to treat this as a homicide. They hunt for KK.
And her description is incredibly vague, right? A neighbor, maybe Mexican, doesn't know her real name, no phone number.
It's the classic phantom suspect. She's sending the police on a wild goose chase.
But here's where it gets interesting.
This is where the whole thing just turns. Detectives actually locate a woman named Kyleah, who Kyleah calls KK.
And that must have been a terrifying moment, thinking they'd found the killer.
Right. But then they run her background. And this is where the house of cards just completely collapses. Kyleah could not have been babysitting. It's a physical impossibility.
Why? Was she out of town?
She was in state custody. KK had been sitting in the Yakima County Jail for the last 3 weeks.
Wow. So the alibi isn't just weak.
It's objectively, provably false. There is physically no way she was watching those children. And when the detectives reveal this, and they let her spin her web first to lock her into the lie, when that fact lands, the defense just evaporates. It moves from negligent babysitter to total abandonment.
So if there was no sitter, where was Kyleah?
Well, investigators reconstructed her timeline, and it's honestly just infuriating. It's not just that she was gone, it's what she was doing.
It paints a picture of someone who viewed her kids as what inconveniences that could be caused. We know she was arrested on February 24th, the day before the bodies were found, at a McDonald's.
But not for child neglect, right? At that point, no one knows.
Correct. It was for an unrelated warrant. She calls a friend, Emma, to bail her out. Now, this is such a crucial moment. If you're a mother, you're arrested at 1:30 a.m., and your kids are home alone, what's the first thing you say?
You'd be frantic. Go check on my kids. I have to get home to them. You wouldn't care about anything else.
Precisely. But in the call transcripts, she never mentions them. Not once. Emma bails her out. Kyleah doesn't go home. She gets picked up by a man named Brad. They go to a hotel, they party, they do drugs.
Living that teenage time.
Exactly. While her 7-month-old is lying dead in Christmas pajamas a few miles away, in her mind, if she wasn't looking at them, they weren't her problem.
And when she finally does go back, that's when the performance starts.
It's self-preservation masquerading as grief. She knows she needs a scapegoat immediately.
So let's get into the interrogation room. Because her behavior there is, I struggle to find the word for it. It's not just lying.
It's a refusal to engage with reality. It's deeply narcissistic. There's a moment that defines her psychology for me. The detective tries to show her photos of her emaciated 2-year-old.
To get a reaction, an emotional break.
Anything. And she refuses to look. She turns away and says, "Don't. It's traumatizing."
Traumatizing.
But not for her daughter. It's traumatizing for her to look at. She's protecting herself from the visual evidence of her own actions. She frames herself as the victim of the trauma she inflicted. It's a hallmark of extreme narcissism.
She also starts rambling about feeding them pumpkin spice yogurt bottles. It sounds like she's just making things up.
It's a scramble. She's throwing out mom words hoping they stick. But what's really fascinating is her motivation. She explicitly mentions wanting to do OnlyFans. She didn't want a traditional job. She wanted to make money off her image.
And she saw the kids as
obstacles. Obstacles to her self-image and her fun. She even talks about how pregnancy ruined her body for selling pictures. The resentment toward them for just existing it's palpable in the transcripts.
And there were drugs involved too. Cocaine and marijuana.
And her rationalization for that. I mean, it's just indicative of her twisted logic. She told police that smoking weed while pregnant helped the baby because it helped her eat. She twists reality to make her vices seem like virtues.
You know, when you hear a case like this, you want to believe it was a sudden snap, a psychotic break. But the sources reveal this wasn't the first time.
This is the bombshell the ex-boyfriend drops. And it is a massive, massive red flag that was missed. In 2023, Kyleah abandoned 2 dogs.
The details of this are just gruesome.
Horrific. She left them in a house. One starved to death. The other was found alive, but it was so desperate for food it had been eating the drywall. It had a harness embedded in its neck.
Eating drywall. And she just walked away.
She claimed they weren't her responsibility. It's the same pattern. The escalation from animal cruelty to child neglect is a well-documented trajectory. It shows a fundamental lack of empathy.
But here is the part that makes you want to scream. She had help available.
Yeah.
This wasn't a case of an isolated parent with no support. Her parents, the grandparents were involved.
They had a schedule every other weekend. And here's the absolute tragedy of it. The grandparents were at Kyleah's house just 2 days before the bodies were found, February 23rd.
Wait, they were at the house?
Yeah.
While the children were in that condition?
They came to visit, but Kyleah texted them beforehand. She said, "Don't go in the bedroom. The kids are sleeping."
Oh, no.
She specifically texted, "She just took herself to bed and cried at the door for me until I let her into her crib." It's so manipulative.
It paints a picture of a normal, slightly difficult bedtime. It's a stage play.
Exactly. She managed the interaction. She just took herself to bed. Implies the child is safe and cared for. It silences any concern they might have had.
And they trusted her.
They're her parents. They didn't want to overstep. They stayed for 10 minutes in the living room, never knowing that behind that closed door, one grandchild was likely already dead and the other was dying.
The grandfather said something later about CPS, because they did call CPS previously.
They did. The family tried. But the CPS worker deemed it low risk.
How is that even possible?
Because neglect hides in plain sight. If the worker didn't see inside that specific room, or if Kyleah put on a convincing performance during the visit, the system fails. The grandfather said, what's going to make it high risk till one of them dies? And tragically, that's exactly what happened.
Let's talk about the survivor, the 2-year-old. When she gets to the hospital, the medical findings just paint this picture of prolonged suffering.
It wasn't just hunger, it was terror. The nurses noted the child was terrified when food was taken away. She would panic. That's a trauma response to starvation. She didn't know food would ever come back.
And the physical state, the peeling skin, the sores.
And her friends, Sophia and Chloe, mentioned the baby had severe diaper rash constantly. But Chloe said something chilling. She said the baby never cried.
People think that means it's a good baby.
And that's the dangerous misconception. In a situation like this, a silent toddler is a terrifying sign. It's learned helplessness. The child learned that crying resulted in nothing, no one would come. So she stopped. She had given up on being heard.
And Cherry, the 7-month-old, the autopsy confirmed it. Severe malnutrition and dehydration.
And the neighbors backed this up. They hadn't heard crying for about a week, which lines up with Kyleah's own accidental admission that she might have been gone for 6 days. She left them there to die.
This brings us to the people around her. The friends. They saw the diaper rash, the dirty house. They knew something was wrong. Why didn't anyone just kick the door down?
It's the bystander dilemma. It is so easy for us to judge. But Kyleah had excuses. Oh, the rash is stubborn. The house is messy. Friends want to believe the best. Social pressure to not accuse a friend of being a bad mom is incredibly strong.
And social media played a huge role in the deception. I mean, she was posting TikToks, lip syncing, while her children were dying in the next room.
It's the deception of functioning. We assume if someone's active online posting content, they must be okay. But social media is not proof of life. It's a highlight reel. In this case, it was a mask. It allowed her to present the fun teenager while completely abdicating her role as a mother.
And we have to talk about resources.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't about poverty.
Not at all. And that's important. Her parents paid her rent, her bills, they bought her car, they offered to take the children day or night. This is not a failure of resources, it was a failure of capacity. Kyleah refused to surrender control.
So where does this leave us legally?
Kyleah Tolle has been charged with first-degree manslaughter, abandonment, criminal mistreatment, and animal cruelty. She's pleaded not guilty. The trial is set for June 2026.
And the survivor?
That information is private, as it should be, but she survived.
This case. It's going to stick with me. It's not the crime itself, it's the performance.
That's the haunting part. We look for monsters in the shadows, but sometimes they're right in front of us, broadcasting their grief on Snapchat, demanding sympathy, while the evidence sits behind an unlocked door just a few miles away.
It forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. When we see someone performing their life online, joy or grief, how much is real? And how do we distinguish between a cry for help and a cover-up?
And maybe more importantly, do we have the courage to look behind the curtain or the closed bedroom door when things just don't add up?
That's all for this deep dive. Take care of yourselves and check on your friends. Really check on them.